What's up, YouTube? In today's video, I just wanted to touch on a subject that I think has become more and more popular as of the last year or so, at least, is the idea of like choosing your hard. And I think it's important to bring this topic up because, look, as a coach, people are always by default trying to find the easy path. Like, and you watch them. Like, one of the biggest habits I come across is people go, okay, so what do I need to do? Like, what do I need to put in place so then I can get, then again, go back to being unconscious? Because having a really productive, healthy, effective, successful life requires being conscious more than being unconscious. And so I get it. Like, we're always trying to default to what's easier, what requires less energy. And I totally relate. In fact, in my yoga practice, I made it a habit actually of doing things the hard way first so that I could make it easier later. But you see, that's just that I made it hard first. And when it comes to making changes, like, it's kind of the same thing. You got to choose your hard. Because the meme as it went, as I saw it, was like, being disciplined with your health is hard, but being unhealthy is also hard. Having debt is hard, but making money is hard, right? And, being alone and not dealing with relationships is hard, but also being in a relationship is hard. So it's really about just choosing where you want to put the effort, because regardless, it's going to be there. And so it's like, do I want to make an effort and still be in struggle, or do I want to make an effort and then reap the benefits? Because we're going to suffer the consequences, or we're going to suffer the results, or I should say, realize the results, right? So think about where in your life you have decided that this is just my lot in life, right? And have a hard conversation about, like, do I really want to continue in this way? Like, even the idea of like money is such an interesting conversation because, for example, people who are really wealthy love debt. They love it. I, for one, love the fact that I have access to debt because it gives me a leverage point. It gives me something to basically, like, if I'm trying to get there, I can draw the arrow back and aim and get there much faster than if I didn't have those resources. And so people really, they see money as like, well, if I have it in the bank and I don't have it on my credit cards, or I don't have it on some sort of loan, then I'm safe. But it's all relative, right? Because if you want to get an education and you don't have the finances, you take out a student loan. If you want to buy a car, but you can't afford to pay it in cash, you take out a loan. If you want to buy a house, but can't afford to pay it in full, you take out a mortgage. Like, these are things that we do to leverage ourselves. And so how we relate to our habits will ultimately correlate to whether or not we're making it hard in a good way or hard in a bad way, because it's going to be there regardless, right? And so for myself, I've had periods where I've definitely leaned into rest. I just came out of one. And yet the reality is there's so much more to reap when I'm being productive. There just is. In fact, I learned a hard lesson that stress can come from having no structure. So again, it's like, choose your hard. Like, if I'm building and creating and showing up and doing, that's going to cause a certain degree of stress, as well, like lifting weights or going running or practicing yoga. But not doing those things, not having structure, not having some place to lean or focus, also causes stress. So really, just, if you're interested in making some sort of shifts in your life, try to get honest with yourself about, like, okay, where am I making it hard, but I'm not actually getting results, I'm just getting consequences? Because there's a difference. There's absolutely a difference. And maybe you'll be willing to dissect some of your own choices, right? Am I looking at money as something that is bad, or am I looking at money as something that can be used to leverage me? In fact, one of the videos I watched, a woman who I follow, I really like, she was saying that, like, people who aren't afraid of debt, they'll take out $1 million in debt because they want to leverage to like 3 or 4 or 5 million, right? And again, that's the difference. Even if we're talking like interpersonal relationships, being defensive, shutting down, practicing these habits that really aren't getting us closer to where we want to be is painful. It just is, right? Reinforcing our defenses. We think that it's protecting us, but ultimately in that moment, we feel pain. We feel uncomfortable. So if you're going to be uncomfortable, you might as well practice vulnerability and honesty and authenticity. Either way, you're going to be uncomfortable. So you might as well just be in integrity with it, right? That second set of habits will yield much better results ultimately. Because if you're going to get rejected, you might as well get rejected having tried than getting rejected having been defensive. You'll never know the truth, right? You know that if you're practicing a defensive stance with someone emotionally or psychologically, that they can't get in. So it's going to cause friction, and it's going to cause problems, and it's going to be hard. So you know you're not going to win. So you might as well go on a limb and practice vulnerability and honesty and authenticity, and see if instead of severance or disconnection, you create connection and intimacy. So this isn't a long video, but I did really want to tap on that topic of choosing your heart, because every day we have an opportunity to choose what we're going to put our energy into, to choose our perspective on it. A couple of good examples. Instead of looking at life like it's a challenge or something to be overcome, look at it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, to be curious. If you're in a state where you're like, I just don't know blank, you can replace that one thought with, I'm learning as we speak. I am learning how to, even if it doesn't feel appropriate. Saying I'm learning opens yourself up to the space that would bring it in. Either way, it's going to be hard. Not knowing and locking yourself up in a mental prison forever sucks. It is going to be hard. Leaning into something new and changing your brain chemistry while learning is going to be hard. So again, I could go on with tons of different examples, but I think you get the point that in life, every direction we go is going to be hard. It's just, do we want consequences or do we want rewards, benefits, and being effective? So that's all, guys. You choose. It's your life. It's your gig. Have a good one. Bye.